Hi. Hey, Christy. Hey, Christy.
She should be there in just a minute.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, sorry. There's something weird going on with the waiting room, so I just allowed everyone in that looks like Christy. It looks like your name
Wait,
is up.
you are the host? That's really weird.
I don't quite know what's going on, but it just let me do that. So that's what I did. Hello.
Oh, I wonder if maybe Ryan made you the host or something. Huh. Anyway, good. I'm glad we're in.
Am I okay to admit folks then?
Yeah, if you see anybody, I can't see anybody else, so good.
Hi, folks. Sorry, technical difficulties. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. I did send a reminder email to those who still want to join with a Zoom link. So hopefully people are getting the messages. We'll give it 1 minute considering the delay and we will start. And for a couple of you that are logged in as Christy James, I'm sorry, you can also rename yourself so I know who you are. That would help as well. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, Christy here. Thank you all for being active and proactive in this process with us with the office hours and webinars that we have been hosting and curating since about summertime, right? Since about early June, mid-June. So really appreciate everyone's attendance and participation. Also, for those who are not able to join, I always send out those Zoom recordings as well as corresponding information. So just keep an eye out for all emails and messages because the deadline for the annual meeting is getting closer and closer, and we are ready to come to Atlanta to attend. So there's going to be a lot of communication thus far as we continue to go along. So just keep in mind that the messages and emails will continue to flow, and I'm always here for questions and comments, as you all have known already with some of you reaching out. So really appreciate that. We're going to get going by starting with the agenda. We're going to do a quick temperature check because things have been moving really fast, at least in my life. And I know I'm sure in your lives outside of the conference, you all have things that you're participating in, whether that's work, school, family, all the things. So just doing a quick temperature check. A couple of reminders that we'll have, and we also have Angie and Manira, who are a part of our APHA and AmeriCorps team. So as I'm saying things, they might have things to chime in on. I'll give them the space and room to do that. But otherwise, there's a couple of reminders that I want to emphasize as we get closer to November 11th. And also the checklist from Fern that I will go through again, just to make sure all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted, and that we feel comfortable and confident for the meeting. And then some next steps that we can all be accustomed to as time goes on. Alrighty, so how do you feel today? And you can use your mood and describe your mood using planets. I thought this was really interesting because I just love the idea that there's something beyond our existing universe on Earth that's fascinating to me. So I would say that today I'm feeling like Saturn because something about the rings are just so beautiful, but also just the vastness and the vastness of Saturn in general is just huge. And I feel very large and in charge today after a gruesome comprehensive exam that I participated in for the last 10 days. So really excited, feeling large, feeling like I'm gonna gain a lot of rings. I don't know, I feel like I'm getting championship ring energy, but I'm feeling very Saturn today. So feel free to either comment in the chat or tell me live how you're feeling using some planets. Long, I'm gonna start with you because I see you smiling and I actually see your face, which is wonderful. So I'm gonna pick on you if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Hi, Christy. I'm feeling it's just like based on vibes, right? Like energy, or is it like okay,
It's all the things, yeah.
My favorite planet has always been Neptune, so I'm always feeling Neptune. I love the blueness of it. I love how it's like I think blue Neptune actually has like the dark spot on it, but it's blue. Jupiter also has a dark spot on it, but it's red. I found that out sometime in like the fifth grade, I think. And I just love Neptune. I always feel like I'm like aligned most with Neptune. Although there's like charts for these, I think, that actually tell you like your Venus in Leo or whatever, all that stuff. But I'm feeling Neptune today. I always feel Neptune though, but which is good. Consistency.
I love that. And
And
blue is a great
congratulations on
color.
your comprehensive exam.
Oh,
I
thank
got
you.
that. Got through that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And I see in the comments some congrats. So appreciate all of you for the love. I love blue as well. So Neptune is a great planet to choose, I will say. I do see some things in the comments. Steve says they are Uranus second to last. So interesting, very interesting. Um, and Angie's saying might be feeling kind of Venus, busy time and lots going on, and it feels hot. So yes, definitely closest to Earth. Venus gives very hot energy. So Good stuff. And then Astride says, I feel like I identify with Mercury. Very good, very interesting. So keep those comments coming, keep those warm wishes coming. Is there anybody else that wants to give their temperature check of how they're feeling or just what they've been doing so far? I know that since fall is here, everybody's bringing out their warmer coats and their big boots. So really excited to see what fall can bring. So is there any other comments before we move on? Okay, so Andrew mentioned Mars closer to the middle of the pact. Yes, yes, definitely. And I know with all of the energies that are beyond our universe, it also kind of it also permeates into what we feel on Earth. So as we're experiencing the planets and their solar energies, we're also getting a lot of that. So wanted to play around with planets for a bit. Thank you all for participating. We're going to move on to a couple of reminders about the annual meeting. So we are less than a month away. I honestly can't believe it. We have been coordinating, planning, and situating things since early June. And to be here now, a couple of weeks away, is awesome. And I'm really excited. I'm sure you all are excited. I'm excited because it's in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. I've been here for 3 years. So I will be able to give you all a lovely powwow of the Atlanta life as you all are participating and engaging in conversations um, and educational experiences during the meeting. But there will be some time to have some fun too. And I want to make sure that I emphasize that because we will be able to convene together, get to know each other, and have some fun. So this is all a part of pleasure and work. So we have a little bit of play as we are entertaining one another in our professional endeavors. And so just a reminder of some events that we have coming up. There's things that we have curated specifically for AmeriCorps folks. For example, the gathering of the Public Health AmeriCorps members and host sites, which Manira and I will be hosting. So shout out to Manira for helping with run of show and all of the logistics. But that will be on Sunday from 9 to 10:30, so an early morning rise. But we will have a special guest, our APHA former president, who will be able to speak to us about getting us hype about the annual meeting, her experiences, her knowledge, and for her to get to know you all and you all to get to know her. And since she was a participant in AmeriCorps a few years back, she just has a wealth of knowledge and enthusiasm about the program in general. So it'll be great to have her there and for you all to experience her, as well as some things that we have up our sleeve for that day too. So looking forward to that. But of course, the main event, the reason why we are all coming to the meeting and the reason why we're all here is the poster session, which will be Tuesday the 14th, 12:30 to 1:30. That 1 hour block is the time where people will be swarming your posters, wondering what you've done, asking questions. And so you'll be able to stand tall and proud next to your poster while people just engage and inquire about the experiences you had as a AmeriCorps participant. So just let you all know that is the main event and the main attraction. But of course, the annual meeting has tons of sessions, specifically scientific sessions, research sessions, more casual roundtable sessions, more conversational sessions. There's a wealth of opportunity to network and get to know people. And so we will make sure that you all are privy to some of those events and some of the things that you all can participate in as you're at the meeting, because it is quite the experience if you've never been before. And so I know me in particular, I want to make sure that you all feel comfortable and confident as you are matriculating through the conference day to day, but also meeting people that could be of great use in the future. Who knows where things could lead. So we'll be able to give you all a bit more of what a run of a show looks like. I know Munir and I have been working hard on our back end to make sure that you all have a sense of what could be going on and what's going to be approaching as the annual meeting is coming soon. So such a wide range of sessions, as Manir mentioned in the chat. So if you're interested in really anything public health related, it's going to be at the annual meeting. And so we want to make sure that you all know what those events are. I want to just click really quickly on the actual meeting and expo website. If you all have not been able to click on it already, this gives more of a day-to-day view of what the meeting has by the hour. So let's just say you're browsing through, you're getting here on Saturday, and outside of the student assembly, you want to know maybe what's going on, right? You would click on Saturday, you can see all the events at the times that they're breaking out to get an idea. Now, I know some of you are coming in like mid-Saturday, some late Saturday. I know there's a few folks that might be coming in early morning Saturday, but for the most part, Saturday could be just a day to gather yourself, and that's totally fine. But we also just want you all to know some of the things that could be going on as you all are coming into Atlanta. So as I'm scrolling, you can see literally hour by hour, there are things going on. If you go to Sunday, which you can click here, also a lot of things going on. So outside of our 9 to 10:30 session, you might find that you want to go somewhere for the 12 p.m. sessions or the 2 p.m. sessions. There's just so much. And so I do suggest this one here that is at, oh, it's never mind. That's ours. That's the, never mind. I was going to say that's another one. But there's other ones in different time blocks when we don't require you to show up that you all can browse and feel free to join. Like we see on Tuesday, Monday, just tons of stuff going on. So what we will be able to do also is help you all gather an agenda that can be more organized so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And we'll talk about that for our last webinar that we'll have before the meeting. But just for you all to just get an idea of what really happens at APHA, this gives you a really good list in real time of the kind of sessions you'll see and the kind of experiences that you can curate depending on what you want to learn. So just making sure that you all know that that exists. And like I said, we'll have one more webinar before the actual meeting. So we will create our agendas together and kind of get an idea of what that looks like, maybe 2 or 3 things per day that we really want to get into. Because as you saw, the list is extensive. You obviously can't go to everything, but I'm sure there's things. Maybe you're a mental health enthusiast, a maternal child health enthusiast, health policy enthusiast like myself. So if there's things that just really stand out, make sure those things are on your list. And there will be a digital app that you can download and actually click on the events you want to go to, and it will ping you to let you know that those events are coming up. So APHA has gotten really fancy from the last years that I remember going where we had the paper books, but it's really good that we're digital and that we are using a way of looking at our phones to make sure that we are going to all the scheduled events. So I said a mouthful, but more to come when it comes to the schedules of events. But like I said, these on this slide are really the ones that we have curated specifically for you all, and I think that you all can really enjoy. Okay. All right, so a couple of reminders. I know that there are 4 main things that were swirling in my emails from about July to now, which was becoming an APHA member, which is awesome. That's a huge benefit that we have in our scholarship awards. Also, of course, the annual meeting attendance and registration. That's another huge benefit. For those who are coming out of town, which is most of you, the air travel confirmation that we've used through Concur. I did send instructions for that. And I will say to clap it up for all of you because you all are officially registered, traveled, and in membership for the annual meeting for my last confirmation. So really excited to know that everyone has their air travel accommodated, everyone has a membership, and everyone has an annual meeting registration. So whoop whoop, kudos to all of you for just corresponding with me back and forth on things. Really appreciate that level of communication. and then hotels as well. Everyone has a hotel. So really excited to know that everyone, at least logistically, is on board. I know some people might have not received emails that actually confirms these four categories. There might not be emails for everything. I know there are confirmed emails for air travel and there are confirmed emails for hotel, but the membership and the AOME registration, if you haven't got an email yet, just know logistically on our end that you have a membership and you have a registration. I'm still working to make sure that you all receive the emails though, so you all can have a copy of that to have in your records. But if there hasn't been an actual email sent to you confirming either of these four categories, please just ping me again to remind me and let me know I flagged those emails so that I can make sure on my end that our team has emails that you all can confirm on your end that you're registered, that you're a member, that you have air travel, and that you have a hotel. Okay, so like I said, lots of things brewing, but those four categories are major for the conference, and I want to make sure that everybody is accommodated. Does anybody have any questions about these four categories and reminders and things that might be necessary to mention? Yes, Steve. Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just had one question about the invoice, because they sent it back again saying that they couldn't like confirm the registration, but I have the registration number.
Okay.
And also like, because I was able to go and see like which time I was speaking on the Tuesday, I guess from 12:30 to 1.
12:30 to 1:30. They sent
But
you
it's
a confirmation of that specific area, or maybe
yeah.
okay. I was going to say, maybe we can correspond offline, 'cause I know we have been talking. You do have my phone number, so if you could call me tomorrow, that would be great, so that we can actually have a conversation about what you received and what you saw. Because if you did receive confirmation that you will be attending the annual meeting, I want you to do your best to ignore the invoice, because on our end, you're paid and covered. Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I can see like it's a different number that's like the speaker ID number versus like the registration ID.
Gotcha. So those IDs might be different, because as a speaker, because people are registered with a certain number, but speakers which are who you all are technically with delivering posters, that could be a different corresponding ID. So it might not be the same, but at least I want to verify that you are a member, which on my end you are, and you're a registered conference attendee. So, but yeah, if you want to give me a quick call or just email me in the morning, we can sort out some more things. And there might be a glitch, as Angie mentioned, so we can try to figure out what happened and make sure that you're set. Like I said, I confirmed with the events team that all 30 AmeriCorps scholars are attending. Just to let you know.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw where they added like a new category as well. It was like the scholars. I want to say it was like the company scholars or something like that.
What
I
was
don't
it
know if
called
everybody
again?
else saw that too. It was like a new like, you know, for the member registration type.
Okay.
Like instead of being just a student or just a public health
Oh, Steve, you
assistant, like
are
yeah, it
early
was like
career
different categories.
profession.
No, it was like a scholar. It was like a one that they just created. I don't know if you guys saw that as well. But it
If you'll
wasn't
send
like a
us what
regular
you have,
student.
that would be good. I don't know that we have a new category, but we'll check it out.
Yeah, definitely. I'll send the link to both of you guys.
That'd be good. Yeah, you can send it to me and then I'll look at the new category, because I'm sure all the categories are in the same bucket of like being a conference attendee. Maybe because you all are funded through a different area of the way
Yeah.
that the way that we make sure that you all are funded for these opportunities, they could have titles that look different than the average attendee who pays through APHA. So I'll
Right.
make
It
sure.
seemed like it was something that was new for this year, like for this year's meeting.
Okay, okay. Well, yeah, send me that email. I'll follow up with you. And of course, we've been talking and calling. So even if you want to call me, just let me know.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Cool, cool.
I just bought the tickets for the aquarium night too though.
Oh, the aquarium night. Yes. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look into what opportunities you all have around the aquarium night. But yes, that is an opportunity through APHA that I think will be really great. So I'll see what that looks like financially. I don't know what we have as far as coverage, but it is something that we can all attend if you all are able and capable to.
Yeah, I think I remember it was on Tuesday from 6 to 9. And
Yes, it's
it was
that.
only like $30 to do it on through like the registration website.
Yeah. So it is that evening. So if you all want to fund that opportunity, I highly suggest it. It's super fun and I'll be there as well.
Have you been before
Have I been where?
to the aquarium?
Yes, it's beautiful. So yes, if you all are here and you want to do things outside of APHA, I would highly recommend the aquarium. And you could do it on Tuesday night, which is a part of APHA anyway. So it's another opportunity to network, get to know more people, and it's way more lax. So it should be a lot of fun for those who can attend.
Hey, just jumping in. I think it's actually Monday night, so just want to make sure y'all go the right
Okay.
night. I think Tuesday night is trivia, which will also be fun.
Okay.
But yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I'll send a link.
Thanks, Angie. Yes, I know, 'cause there's so many events, it does get confusing. But just to confirm, Monday night is the aquarium night. So anybody on the call, any attendees that want to participate, please feel free. I will send some corresponding information about those activities on in my next email when I send you all the link and the slide deck. Okay. All righty. So moving right along. The checklist that Fern created for us, and I'll click on the website a little later in the office hours so you all can see it again. But this is something that kind of keeps you accountable, keeps everyone aligned. Like I said before, the first 4 check marks are completed. So that's really big. Of course, the other pieces are going to be a couple of things. Number one, sending in I'll talk about that in the next slide, so I won't speak too soon. But just for you all to have this handy and available, the checklist, I'll also send that in my corresponding email after this call. But just for you all to have knowledge of what we expect and what you all can be sending in as you're getting closer and closer to the conference. Okay. And so I do want to send a plug for vaccination reminders. For those who might not know, you might have already gotten an email to send in your vaccination confirmations, which is great. But just for you all to know, APHA does require vaccinations to attend the meeting. So there's 2 options of doing that per the website. There's 1 full primary series plus 1 updated booster. So when the vaccinations first came out of offering either Pfizer or Moderna, from the start of like February 2021 on, you can have those new boosts. You can have those shots as well as 1 new booster that just that was circling around and coming out since September 2022. The other option is just getting full updated vaccinations since September 2023. So a new set of either Pfizer, Moderna, or Novavax. So 2 options there. I know that there might be some people who want to consider some exemptions, either medically or religious exemptions, which is fine. There is an email for that, annual meeting at apha.org. Feel free to CC me if you want me to be an advocate or just somebody that can vouch for your exemption status. But I'm happy to coordinate or have any conversations that are necessary on my end. But just to know that that option is available, annual meeting at apha.org. But these 2 options are what is required for the annual meeting. Just another plug, Angie did throw in a link to the aquarium night on Monday if you'd like to join. And there'll be buses going back and forth to the hotels as well. So no walking required. You all will have a way of getting around a little bit. So if you're interested, please click on the link in the chat and you can sign up. Does anybody have any questions about vaccinations? I know that I did get a couple of emails of just what the requirements look like, so I want to make sure everyone understands a bit about this process. But like I said, apha.org is going to give you more information, but this is what I pulled right off of the website of what is required. And like I mentioned, for those exemptions, there is a email to send, and you feel free to CC me as well. Okay. All right, we're going to move right along. So we all love some money. I know I do, right? So in order to make sure that you all are not only attending the conference, but having a few dollars in hand to do different things like buy some lunch, buy some dinner, maybe if you need to do some ground transportation, whatever you need to be successful during the annual meeting, there will be a certain amount of money that everyone is able to receive to be able to use during the annual meeting. So I know a couple of you all have submitted those ACH bank forms. It's a simple form that just has information, and I'll click on that here. That shows just some simple information about your name, address, your actual bank name and address, and not necessarily SWIFT code because there's not international wires, but just your bank account number and your routing number so that we can be able to send over some funds to you as you are going to the annual conference. So I know it says submit to accounting department. I'd rather you submit them to me so that I can send them all in one batch. If you do send them to accounting, if you feel more comfortable doing that, please feel free to CC me so at least I know that the message is going out. But also send them directly to me. A couple of y'all have done that already. Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much. But just to confirm and really settle that in, we do want those ACH forms as soon as possible so you can get paid, right? So just making sure that those things are in the works and that you all know that that's available for you as an option for the conference. So like I said, bank forms, submit them over. I'll add that form again in the email I'll send later, but just for you all to have it handy, okay? And we are 10 surveys away from completing all 30 surveys. So you all are banging them out. I really appreciate that. If we could complete all the pre-surveys by, I said the 13th here, but obviously we are 23rd. So by this Friday, ideally, I would love to see all of those surveys completed so that I can begin to really look at the data and see what you all need, because the surveys really help to curate the experiences that you all will have during the conference. And I want to make sure that those experiences are of top tier performance. So in order for me to do that, the surveys must be completed, and also just to understand the experiences that you all have, because the more we know about you, the better we can curate different programs like this in the future, okay? So I have the link present. If you guys could help send those forms. I know, Omar, if you want to see the form, I will also send it in our corresponding email. But if you want to just type in APHA in your search, in your email, I'm sure you'll see it there too, because I did plug it in about once or twice already. But if you want it again, I'll send it in the link. I'll send it in the email that I'll be sending out later today. But just to let you know, it is here in the slides. If I'll copy and paste it here. And also I'm gonna send it in our corresponding emails. So just for you all to have it. And I'll click on it, Omar, just for you to see it. And I'll copy and paste so you all can have it handy when you're ready. Okay. So like I said, surveys, huge, important. Want to make sure everybody gets it done. And we're 10 away, so we're not far from the 100% completion, which is great. All right, so some of you have already turned in your posters to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will be reviewing them this week. As you all know, last week I was out of commission, so I know if you sent me a poster, I probably looked at the title and I probably saw a picture or two, but I did not scrutinize it the way I wanted to. So this week is going to be my week to do so. keep sending in your posters if you haven't to me already. If you have, just know that I'll be giving you some feedback later this week. But I really do appreciate the posters that have been sent to me already. And the template is here linked in the folder. So if you want to click on that, use a template or something creative that you have already, open to either or, but just for you all to know that we have resources here for you, okay? Any questions about the poster sending? I know that tomorrow is a soft deadline to send in posters. So just for you all to know, continuously send in those posters because our hard deadline is going to be next Monday, the 31st, okay? Because we want to make sure that we have all the posters that I can look at for feedback and that we can process for printing in a timely fashion. So just making sure that those things are coordinated, okay? And speaking of posters, we have a few things that we want to consider when submitting a poster to me. I'll also catch these things when I'm looking at it for feedback, but just for you all to know, when you are using any information that is not your own, meaning that you looked up some data from the CDC, maybe you looked up some data from a peer review article or from a blog from another person that works in public health, or maybe another experience from an AmeriCorps professional. You want to make sure that you cite that information so that you can give everybody the proper credit, right? Because nobody would want you to just post your whole essay online and nobody's citing you. That's just, it would just feel a little eerie, right? So we want to make sure that people are cited for the work they do. I gave a great example, APHA 7th edition, classic, last name, and the year that it was published, okay? So even if it's a photo, which some people are like, oh, I got it off of Google Images, no big deal, there's still a link to where that Google image came from. And we want to just cite that image if we can. So for example, if you get an image, I did do an example last webinar of using Beyonce as my poster example and showing how we should all attend the Renaissance tour, right? If I wanted to cite something from Beyonce, I would go to her actual website, click on her photo, and then I would cite Beyonce knows Carter.com, comma 2023, right? Because that's her website and that's the year that it was pulled from. Okay, so just some examples of how you can always give credit where credit is due. And if you need more tips and tricks on that, that's why I'm here. I'm happy to assist and help, but you all have been sending me your posters, so I'll be able to catch those things for you. But just in case you are still working on yours and want to send it in at a certain time, putting it out there, the citations are really useful, okay? Also, I got questions about poster printing. No need to worry. We will be the ones responsible for printing your posters, okay? We are the ones responsible for that, which is why when you submit on the 31st, which is the hard deadline, we can make sure that your posters are printed in a timely fashion, okay? So if you need a little more time after the 31st, I like to know beforehand than afterhand, but we want to make sure, at least on my end, that formatting looks good, margins are beautiful, font is accurate, all the things that are necessary to make the poster come alive, okay? Even the pixelations for the pictures, I want to be able to catch that ahead of time so that Beyonce doesn't look like some distorted figure, okay, if you had her on your poster. So just making sure that you all are prepared for printing, and so I can do my due diligence on the front end, and then you all can have your posters printed and ready on the back end, okay? And also another big emphasis on how you're presenting your information. As AmeriCorps participants, we love to get to know you, but we love to get to know the work, because the work is why you're here, the work is why you're funded, and the work is why it speaks for itself when you're attending the annual meeting. So giving us those lessons learned from your experiences and what you would recommend for future health professionals is a great way to extend that research forward. And it's a great way to understand what you've actually done at your time as an AmeriCorps participant, okay? So giving us information about your host site, maybe some background about your host site would be great. Maybe some information that you've actually done, some activities that you performed as you were doing your experience. and those lessons learned and some recommendations. So like we mentioned before in the previous templates, having that introduction, or some people call it the issues, you can call it whatever you want, but an introduction of what you've done. And I've seen some people actually put in their abstract. I've done that too. If you want to actually put in your abstract on the poster so that people have something to read and to gather from, that's also highly recommended. You can do your abstract on there. You can also add the project description. So what did you do? How did you do it? What were some activities performed? And then some lessons learned from that experience, as well as what you'll recommend for future public health professionals. Would you want them to experience the same host site? Would you want to serve in different populations? Would you want to curate your own tools for professional experiences? All those things are really useful for us to learn more about you and learn more about the public health field and how it's moving and growing. Okay, so just keeping in mind those 3 tidbits. I'm going to pause, want to make sure Manir and Angie might not have any other suggestions, but I think these are really comprehensive.
Yeah, no, I think Christy covered the main things. I would just say, when you're talking about kind of your AmeriCorps experience, we really do want to hear about, what have you done to advance public health? And so, or to, improve the health of populations. So the ideas of recommendations that Christy's giving, that's more kind of big picture. So while you're standing in front of your poster, people will ask you a lot of questions about your own experiences doing it and kind of how it worked. But if you're in, and I'm making this up, LA County, and you were working on a program that did something specific, like tell us about that program, kind of what you were hoping to do. And as Christy mentioned, if there's some data or some results about kind of what has happened as a result of the work, that would be great. And this may be a place where you go back to your host site supervisors or mentors and say, hey, what story should we tell about the work that we're doing as a program or as, an initiative, like how this AmeriCorps work fits in, so that you can kind of help us big picture, give a great idea about all the amazing things happening around the country by the work that you all are helping to do. Does that help?
That's great, Angie. Thank you. And I love the idea about going back to your host site supervisors and having conversations with them, because keep in mind that your work is being projected to thousands of people. Some people honestly don't even know what AmeriCorps is, or that they didn't even know that AmeriCorps has a branch specifically for public health participants. That is huge for APHA to know and understand more about, especially members from all around the country who only thought of AmeriCorps as something that was at a specific site, but didn't necessarily know that it was public health related. And so we want to give all the kudos and the stars to Public Health AmeriCorps, what we do and why it's so important. And you all are going to be the face for that. So making sure that you're communicating your story well, articulating it through the poster, and also getting people excited because they might want to be an AmeriCorps participant one day, and it's because of your story. So keeping all of those fun and happy things in mind. Yes, that is Manir speaking, that we covered it all. So thanks, Manir, for that. I know that the titles of names got a little wonky, but yes, we are here. We're happy to help. Anything else that you all might have as far as questions about posters or things that are necessary for your knowledge? If not, we can move forward. All righty, cool. Okay, so if there's nothing else, which there might be things coming up, and that's why you guys have my cell, my phone, you have my text, you have my email, you have all the levels of communication with me. So if things come up, always do your due diligence of contacting me, as you all know. We have a tentative webinar date, and I'm going to confirm with you all by the end of this week of November 8th, 2 to 3 p.m. And we're going to have some special guests at that webinar because it's going to be our last one before the conference. So really excited. I want to hype it up because it is fun to have other people on board. I know you guys love me, and I've been a talking head for the past few months, but it's always good to have other people that can chime in and talk about AmeriCorps and all the experiences that you all will have during the conference. So we'll have our fun friend AJ Perryman that will be there for the webinar. really excited to have her there. She's always fun and just always a great face. So really excited to have her attend. And just to give you all a secret of who the hosts are going to be. We're going to have probably some other guest speakers and some other hosts that I'll curate, but just for you all to know who could be there. And then also for the last webinar, since we're going to be really getting into the weeds of next steps, and I'll also have the toolkit that I've been curating for a couple of weeks now available for you all, and I'll talk about that on the next webinar. And the toolkit is all things AmeriCorps attendance to the annual meeting from start to finish. So you all will have your own personal guide to the conference, as well as different things that could be helpful, tips and tricks as you're in the conference experience. Last thing, Fern is always going to be our best friend when it comes to where we can go for a one-stop shop. I'll click on it again just in case folks have not seen the Fern page already, but it has all things AmeriCorps, all things annual meeting participation. And so it's really a success guide. It's kind of like the toolkit I'm making, but just on a website that you all can have handy. But Fern is really good on showing the checklist that I mentioned earlier in the meeting. We did the abstract work, which is great, but it also gives tips on preparing the poster if you all just need a little more help. And it also has some dates and some things to keep in mind as we're going through the conference. So looking at some of the webinar series, they're all here as well. So from the start to the end, there's all the webinars here available for you all to look at, as well as, of course, I send out the emails for the slide deck and the recordings. But in case those things just don't come up in your email as often as most, here's a one-stop shop, really helpful, really useful, and hopefully you guys have used it in the past. And Angie said we could possibly put my toolkit on Fern too, which is great. I get my credit. No, but yes, it would be great to see the toolkit on Fern. So just in case you all are going to the conference and just need to type in the Fern website as you're doing your stuff, you can have the toolkit there as well. Okay. Anything else, Angie?
Christy, I just realized one other thing we may want to tell people about, and it's not quite open yet, but APHA has a really good app for the annual meeting. And so that'll be coming out soon. We'll make sure you get that, but that's another place that you can find out where's my session, what rooms it in, what's happening. So it is a very helpful tool too. So just an FYI, it's coming.
Yes, I'm excited to get that app because I'm ready to create my agenda too. I want to make sure I get all the information I need for the conference. So yes, that app is going to be our best friend as well, and just creating our own agendas, and it'll ping you when the session is happening. So that's also a really cool tool. I've said a mouthful, but you guys have been great participants. You guys have been great troopers in this process with me. I really appreciate it. And I know that there might be some questions. So like I said, feel free to contact me. If you also feel comfortable contacting Angie or Manira, they're helpful as well. So if there's any questions, let us know. But we are getting closer to the meeting, guys. We have one more webinar coming up in November, and then we will have the actual meeting to stand upon. So if there's nothing else, I want to give a clap to all of you, and thank you so much for participating in our office hours. Our final webinar will be in November, and then the meeting will go on. So thank you all, and if there's nothing else, I'll see you all in November.
See everybody in a couple of weeks, which is wild.
Yes, literally, I'll see you all in November, like physically. No more cameras. We will be. So thank you all and appreciate it. We'll see you soon.